What's up, sickos? It's your boy, Corey Tulaba, NBA draft analyst here at No Ceilings, and welcome to the first YouTube NBA big board of the 2025 NBA draft cycle. This is our second big board at No Ceilings. The first one we released exclusively at NoCeilingsNBA.com, but today we're going to go over the top 30 on our most recent big board. Now, just to preface this, give you a little bit of behind the scenes on how we put this board together. The 10 of us come together, give our personal rankings, and then we average that out. That way it eliminates any personal biases any members of our crew has and gives a more accurate reflection of where maybe each prospect is within this draft cycle. But I'm excited to break down each of the top 30 guys on our first YouTube big board. So no more waiting. Without further ado, let's get into it. Here are the No Ceilings top 30 prospects from the 2025 NBA draft class. Not many players in college basketball, let alone freshmen, are capable of what Cooper Flagg has done so far for the Duke Blue Devils. Flagg is a hybrid forward who's taken on playmaking duties in Durham and has helped Duke stay competitive early in the season against top-ranked competition, all while captaining his team on the defensive side of the ball, creating deflections and forcing turnovers to get Duke in transition for easy buckets. Scouts have watched Flagg struggle with end-game execution in multiple contests, but those shortcomings are to be expected from a young player who has had to shoulder a high usage rate with a target on his back each and every night. Still, those moments haven't held Flagg back from playing with an incredible motor and throwing down highlight reel dunks when given the opportunity. Other questions about his spot-up shooting and half-court ball handling are still left without answers, but as a passer, inside-the-arc scorer, and engaged defensive playmaker, what Flagg has done, while still just 17 years old, is more than worthy of consideration for the top pick in the 2025 NBA draft. At number 2, we have Dylan Harper at Rutgers. Harper has been as spectacular as advertised for the Scarlet Knights early on this season. Harper's been pouring in buckets at a prodigious rate, distributing at a high level with a nearly spotless turnover record and displaying defensive chops that would make his father proud. His three-point shooting is really the only blemish on his early record, but he's shown great touch in other areas, especially at the free throw line where he's taking nearly 7 free throw attempts per game in the early going and knocking them down at a near 80% clip, including drilling 15 of 16 in his 37-point barrage against Alabama. Rutgers' star duo is showing out early with Harper as the head of the snake on both ends of the floor. Which brings us to number 3, Ace Bailey. Move over Brandon Miller and Ron Holland. We have a new supremely talented but divisive wing in town. Through no fault of his own, Bailey has come under intense scrutiny in the early part of the season due to mostly questions about his handle. The derision doesn't necessarily do his game justice, as he's looked like his star wing self in the early goings for a Rutgers team that's played a demanding schedule. Through tough mid-range pull-ups, smooth shots from deep, and some thunderous dunks, Bailey has had no issues getting buckets early on. Bailey has been a strong, lanky perimeter defender alongside his great scoring, flashing the same two-way upside that had draftniks and fans drooling over what he could one day do at the NBA level. While his shot selection has inspired various opinions, there's no doubt that Ace Bailey has had a solid, if not great, start to his freshman season and cemented that he should be a top pick come June. At number 4, we have Yegor Demin out of BYU. Yegor has risen into the top 5 of the 2025 NBA draft class thanks to his impressive offensive versatility and advanced skill set for a 6'9" wing. The Russian-born prospect playing for BYU via Real Madrid has showcased a dynamic offensive arsenal highlighted by his versatile shooting profile, soft finishing touch, and excellent playmaking ability. He thrives in ball screens, leveraging his size, patience, and crafty passing to create opportunities for teammates while using hesitations and change of pace to attack downhill. Defensively, he's a fluid and switchable perimeter defender with strong positional awareness, though he needs to add strength and a consistent motor. With a unique blend of size, feel, and versatility, Yegor projects as a high-upside primary playmaker at the next level. At number 5, we have Trey Johnson from Texas. Few players in this class personified bucket-getting more than Johnson. Throughout this season, Johnson has consistently shown his scoring versatility and upside regardless of opponent. Johnson isn't immune from some inefficient scoring nights, but even when Johnson's shot isn't falling, he still finds different ways to impact the game. He's a competitive defender, a solid positional rebounder, and a better passer than his numbers might indicate. Johnson will consistently get put into the just a scorer bucket throughout the season, but don't be fooled by the raw numbers because Johnson is significantly more than just a shooter. At number 6, we have VJ Edgecombe from Baylor.
Edgecombe is an athletic marvel straight up. This has manifested itself best on the defensive end, where he's proven himself to be one of the most impactful disruptors in college hoops. Edgecombe can burst into passing lanes for pick sixes and turn away opponents above the rim. He can smother opponents at the point of attack and bully his way into strips. Offensively, he's a threat to put opponents on a poster. While he's not the most polished creator, he's been a solid passer and decision maker. The swing skill here is going to be Edgecombe's scoring efficiency. While he's shown flashes as a finisher and shooter, he's yet to find consistency at the college level. But if he does, he could climb his way back up the board. At number 7, we have Illinois' freshman guard, Kasparas Jakučionis, who continues to impress with his play for the Fighting Illini this year. The Lithuanian-born floor general plays the game with outstanding poise, understanding how to use angles to set up defenders before throwing dimes to his teammates for easy buckets. Listed at 6'6", his mature understanding of how to run the show offensively will have NBA teams smitten about his floor while foaming at the mouth at the potential waiting to be unlocked. The playmaking's special, and Kasparas has shown craftiness while creating his own shot as well. NBA teams will want to see if the talented freshman can clean up the turnovers, but there's been plenty to like early on in the season from the international guard. At number 8, we have Kaman Malawach of Duke. While Malawach hasn't brought a ton of flash and flair to the table offensively, he's still provided plenty of value as a 7'2" center in the role that's been asked of him. Malawach has patrolled the paint for the Duke Blue Devils, both protecting the rim and deterring drivers, causing opposing players to think twice about challenging him at the basket. A high-level play finisher and interior scorer, Malawach's off-ball offensive abilities tied to his screen setting have freed up shooters like Knipple and Tyrese Proctor to focus on what they do best. While he has room to improve in terms of cutting down on turnovers and developing a go-to offensive move in the paint, there's little denying how he impacts the game on both ends. And every NBA team is always searching for skilled size with upside. One thing to monitor for Malawach is his outside touch, already having made a 3 and converted well from the free throw line. Should those signs of outside shooting manifest at greater volume, there's plenty of room for Malawach to keep rising up the board. At number 9, we have Liam McNeely out of UConn. McNeely's marriage of positional size, shooting versatility, and functional ball skills give him one of the highest floors in the class. His lethal off-ball skill set fits like a glove for all 30 teams and would be an excellent complement to any star player. The sharpshooting wing has the makings of a long-time high-end rotation player that understands how to impact winning. At number 10, we have Asa Newell out of Georgia. Newell has had an incredibly encouraging start to his freshman season for the Bulldogs, providing versatility on both sides of the ball as a 6'11" forward. Newell's displayed utility in terms of defensive playmaking, covering a ton of ground and picking off errant passes for easy transition buckets. Newell has also stepped up in the paint and blocked his fair share of shots off weak side rotations and helped defense. Offensively, his touch inside the paint has provided a reliable scoring outlet for a team with numerous perimeter options, not to mention he's boxed out well and gobbled up offensive rebounds for putbacks to clean up possessions. An athletic forward who can sky off 2 feet, run the floor, push the ball in transition, and catch and finish, there won't be too many ways to effectively guard Newell should his jump shot come around. Newell's motor, feel, and two-way skill set create a high ceiling for the potential first-round pick in the 2025 NBA Draft. At number 11, we have Con Knipple from Duke. Knipple has cooled down a bit after a blistering start, but he's still shown some really impressive flashes in the early going. Barring a tough outing against Kentucky where he was 5 of 20 from the field and 1 of 8 from the three-point line, Knipple has been as advertised often, putting up over 6 threes a game. He's also shooting a blistering 94% from the free throw line. He's also shown quite a bit of passing talent. While he may not be a primary playmaker, he has a sparkling 3-to-1 assist-to-turnover ratio and is averaging over 3 dimes a game. He's even nabbed a few steals on the defensive end, shown the ability to move his feet, wall off drives using his strength. His weaker performances right now can't be written off as coincidence, but still, he's shown that the early buzz surrounding him in the preseason was not just rumor mongering, as he has been a steady presence in the Duke lineup. At number 12, we have Ben Saraf from Ratio Farm. Ever since college basketball kicked off, Saraf has kind of been forgotten about. However, that doesn't mean that he stopped playing games and producing at a very high level. He is one of the elite playmakers in this class. The way that he effortlessly gets to his spots, manipulates help defenders with his eyes, constantly generates quality looks for his teammates. He has an omniscient quality to his playmaking vision, which at his size is really special. Fortunately, his scoring has still been wildly inconsistent. He's shooting it well off the catch when unguarded, but his pull-up jumper leaves a lot to be desired. Additionally, he's largely left-hand dependent, which makes him a predictable and inconsistent rim finisher. But his size, playmaking, and defensive playmaking make him a fascinating prospect, and if he can find some consistency with his shooting and scoring, his stock can rise. At number 13, we have Colin Murray Boyles from South Carolina. Despite being an undersized big, Murray Boyles projects to be one of the best defenders in the class. He expertly leverages his strength, length, and instincts to defend taller players in the paint while providing capable weak side rim protection and a knack for defensive playmaking. Offensively, Murray Boyles is a reliable play finisher who brings a blend of feel, ball skills, and playmaking that NBA teams covet from their bigs. He'll provide value as a short-roll decision maker and advantage scorer in the low and mid post. His collective offensive skill set should help ease some concerns about his early lack of three-point volume and development as he continues to tap into those shooting flashes. At 14, we have Nolan Traore, one of the biggest fallers during his early stretch of the season. Traore has struggled with scoring the ball efficiently during his first full season as a pro. He's shooting less than 35% from the field and 30% from three. The French guard, however, still shows the potential to become one of the more interesting offensive creators in the draft with his creative ball handling, his tough shot making for multiple levels of the floor, and his playmaking for others, which allows him to exploit the gravity that he generates as a driver to find open teammates consistently. At 15, we have Maryland's Derek Queen. Queen has emerged as one of the most promising risers in the 2025 NBA draft class, a riser in which I continue to expect to rise. The 6'10", 246-pound forward out of Maryland stands out with his advanced offensive versatility, highlighted by crafty footwork, soft touch around the rim, and exceptional playmaking ability. Queen has finally connected on a few threes, but it's his potential as a mid-range shooter and the way that he thrives as a self-creator using fluidity and precise decision-making to break down defenses that's intriguing. Defensively, he leverages his size to hold his ground in the post and uses his reach effectively around the rim. The lateral quickness, conditioning, and a consistent motor definitely are areas in which he needs to continue to improve. He'll draw comparisons to Alperen Şengün with his blend of skill, basketball IQ, and potential, which makes him one of the more intriguing prospects in this class. At 16, we have Hugo Gonzalez. This season hasn't gone as Gonzalez's biggest fans might have hoped, but there have been positive flashes for Gonzalez in his limited playing time for Real Madrid this season. His biggest successes this year, as they will be at the NBA level, have come on the defensive end, making use of his strong 6'6" frame and athletic tools to hound opponents, even when faced up against some of the best professionals in the world as an 18-year-old. This isn't exactly new for Hugo. He has been one of the more touted prospects in this class for years, and he made his ACB debut for Real Madrid just 16 years old. Scouts will have to hope that he gets more playing time as the season goes on. But even if he doesn't, there will be front offices who are enamored by his connected play offensively and his versatility on the other end of the floor. At 17, we have Noah Asengwe from Ratio Farm. Despite being one of the youngest players in the draft, Asengwe has earned a spotting spot for German league contenders. The 17-year-old forward has been unstoppable in the open court with his elite combination of 6'9" size, speed, and ball handling abilities, while also making an impact on the defensive end of the floor with his physical tools and athleticism. The jumper continues to be a work in progress as he has converted less than 30% of his threes during the current season, but his mix of size, athleticism, ball handling ability, defensive impact, and productivity at his young age certainly make him worthy of a top 20 selection. At 18, we have Boogie Flan from Arkansas. Flan has been outstanding early on for the Razorbacks. He's checked the boxes in a number of areas offensively when it comes to scoring versatility, along with his ability to be a facilitator. Listed at 6'2", Flan is a bit thin-framed at his reported weight of 175 pounds, but that hasn't stopped him from being a versatile piece on both sides of the ball. While the offensive game has been impressive, Flan has turned some heads with his on-ball defense this year, averaging around 2 steals per game and being one of the top point-of-attack defensive guards in the country. If Flan can continue to showcase this type of versatility offensively while also making an impact on the defensive side of the ball, his draft stock is only going to get louder. At 19, we have Nick Clifford from Colorado State. Nick Clifford has been one of the top upperclassmen in the country this year. Clifford started to make some noise last year after transferring from Colorado. He quickly became a popular draft sleeper, especially for many of us at No Ceilings. Check out our film breakdown with Nick. Clifford decided, though, to bet on himself and return to his senior season. So far, it's been a tremendous decision. He's listed at 6'6", 200, and he's done just what scouts hoped he would do, returning for his senior year: dominate. Clifford checks boxes quickly when building the prototypical 3+D+ prospect for the NBA level. He's a fluid athlete with impressive bounce, who is a scientist on the defensive side of the ball. After taking strides last year as a three-point shooter, Clifford has continued to trend in the right direction with his swing skill. Despite being an upperclassman, Clifford is starting to look the way of a two-way weapon that should have a lot of fans in NBA front offices. At number 20, we have Alex Caravan, the two-time champion out of UConn. While UConn has been up and down this season, Alex Caravan is still putting together a remarkable campaign in stores. He, unsurprisingly, hasn't maintained his 4-block per game average that he had in the early going, but he's cleanly taken strides forward defensively in a way that will be vital to determining his NBA future. Caravan is drilling over 45% of his nearly 7 3-point attempts per game, and he's also had a revelatory season as a playmaker with more responsibility in the UConn offense. Scouts already knew about the power of Caravan as a connective piece from his first 2 title runs with the Huskies, and he's taken significant steps forward in areas that will make it even easier for NBA decision makers to envision a place for Caravan on their squad. At number 21, we have Will Riley, a 6'8" Canadian wing playing for Illinois, who has emerged as a dynamic scorer, playing with the kind of flair of someone who grew up watching the Ball Bros Chino Hills teams. A lights-out shooter, Riley is capable of going on incredible scoring runs when he gets hot, while he's primarily operated as a scorer in an off-ball role during his freshman campaign. His strong decision-making, low turnover rate, and high school tape hint at untapped playmaking potential. Though his wingspan isn't remarkable, his positional size and versatility allow him to fit seamlessly into modern NBA schemes as a guard or wing. With added strength, Riley should thrive on both ends as an effective dribble-pass-shoot archetype in today's NBA. At number 22, we have LeBaron Philon, the freshman guard out of Alabama, who has been a pleasant surprise early on in the draft cycle. The 6'4" freshman has a variety of ways in which he can impact the game. Offensively, he uses his slick handle, polished footwork, and deep bag counters to get into the paint on a consistent basis. From there, he can finish with his soft touch or use his impressive passing vision to sling assists. Defensively, he's a dogged defender who gets after it at the point of attack. His feel shows up on this end of the floor too, as he can read the opposing offense and make plays as a help defender. Philon has a narrow, skinny frame, and his 3-ball has left something to be desired. Still, his versatile skill set, feel, and ability to impact winning have earned him a place in the first round. At 23, we have Hunter Sallis. After a career year at Wake Forest changed his draft fortunes, Sallis has had a tougher start to his season this year to throw some cold water on his case. Still a much improved scorer and player from his time at Gonzaga, but his 3-point percentage has dipped on the same amount of attempts per game as last season. Sallis has taken on more of a distributor role for the Demon Deacons this year, and while he's shown strides as a passer, he's also turning the ball over more than last year. Many of the issues with his game right now can be attributed to missing shots, as he still has the same great first step, handle, and length that made him a star guard in the ACC. Combined with his solid defensive playmaking numbers and enticing physical profile, there are still several reasons to be patient with Hunter Sallis. A return to his shooting form from last season would certainly solidify his standing in a 2025 NBA draft class that's heavier at the top than the bottom. At 24, we have KJ Lewis from Arizona. Lewis's elite on-ball defense will, at minimum, get teams intrigued with his game. Unfortunately, this Arizona team has been a bit of a mess, which has led to some off-ball defensive issues, miscommunication across the board, fouls, and clunky offensive flow. Lewis is incredibly comfortable and effective, locking up any ball handler on the perimeter with his quickness, instincts, and fundamentals. Last year, Lewis was still an elite defender, but almost a non-factor in offense. This year, his offense has grown substantially. Lewis isn't an on-ball creator or initiator by any means, but he's improved in areas that matter for his most likely NBA role, as he looks more comfortable attacking closeouts and moving the ball. Lewis's 3-point numbers will always be a question mark, but he significantly upped his volume this year, a good sign moving forward. He can improve his shooting efficiency while still defending and creating off-ball as he has been. It'll do wonders for both his draft stock and Arizona's record. At number 25, we have Drake Powell from North Carolina. Early results were not kind to Mr. Powell, as he had to endure an early season shooting slump and an inconsistent role off the bench. Powell's recent breakout performance against Michigan State, however, left plenty on the table for scouts and executives to remain excited about in terms of his potential draft stock. Powell was engaged as a shooter and played to his strength defensively as an on-ball defender. Powell's projected role is tied to his ability to hit open shots and guard on the ball, thanks to his quick feet and hip flexibility to change direction and effectively contain opposing matchups. Some larger questions that Powell will have to answer stem from concerns relating to his passing vision, handle, and traffic, and ability to get to the free throw line. Should the jumper continue to fall and his offensive game round out as he gains confidence and extended minutes within the Tar Heels rotation, Powell's draft stock could stabilize, mitigating a slight fall from where he sat in preseason rankings. At number 26, we have his teammate Ian Jackson. Even in a limited role so far, Jackson is producing for North Carolina and offering glimpses of his tantalizing talent. He's an aggressive and competitive two-way guard with explosive physical tools and multi-level shot-making that excels in the open floor. If his hot shooting from three proves to be real, he'll answer a critical question mark about his game that will significantly boost his draft stock. At number 27, we have Cannon Catchings out of BYU. There's always a point in every draft class in which raw upside and potential start to become too intriguing to pass up. Coming into the year, Catchings was on plenty of radars as a name to watch out for, as Catchings has a fantastic foundation to build off of when looking at a young forward with untapped potential. Listed at 6'9", Catchings is a player that should be circled on your watch list for the rest of the year. The nephew of WNBA Hall of Famer Tamika Catchings, it doesn't take long to see why there's such a high ceiling. Conference play will be key for Catchings, as scouts will want to see some consistency with his game. That stretch could be the deciding factor if catching is a 2025 prospect, or will he find himself playing alongside AJ DeBonsa on the wing for BYU as a breakout candidate in his sophomore year. At 28, we have Carter Bryant from Arizona. The talented freshman has been a popular name on the rise in the basketball world over recent years. After a rapid climb up the high school ranks, Bryant has become a name firmly on the radars of scouts to monitor closely in the 2025 class. He's listed at 6'8", 225 pounds, and has continued to make tremendous strides with his development. Playing on a veteran-filled Arizona team, Bryant has had to earn minutes early on to start the year. The minutes have started to climb, and Bryant will be a name that could break out with additional run. When Bryant's been on the court, the tape has been more impressive than the numbers might suggest. Still young in his development, Bryant has shown strong flashes on the defensive side of the ball. It seems as though it's only a matter of time before Bryant starts to get extended minutes with Arizona. When that happens, it could be a name that could heat up in the draft rather quickly. At 29, we have Jalil Bethia out of Miami. Of all the NCAA teams disappointed out of the gate, Miami stumbled may be the most alarming. They've looked listless against Drake, Oklahoma State, VCU, Charleston Southern, without inspiring much hope that they can turn their season around in time for ACC play. After coming into the season with a healthy amount of hype, Bethia certainly hasn't been the problem, but he's far from the solution for the Hurricanes. Bethia ranks 8th in minutes for Miami and has barely had enough time to show off his sweet shooting stroke and creation chops for the team. It hasn't helped that he's been missing shots in his short spurts on the court, or that his defense still looks to be lagging behind at the college level, but there's no one else on this roster who brings the same blend of scoring and athleticism that Bethia showed in high school. Although it'll be hard to crack a veteran-laden rotation, Bethia's upside still warrants some attention early on in this cycle, even if he hasn't been able to dig Miami out of their early season hole. And rounding out the top 30, we have Mackenzie Mbako from Indiana. Mbako arrived in Indiana with a shooter's reputation. As a sophomore, he's grown into that reputation, consistently hitting deep three balls for the Hoosiers. Given his 6'8", 220-pound frame, it's easy to see the appeal. But Mbako has also begun to round out his game. He's become a more potent downhill driver, boosting his scoring efficiency as a whole during his second college season. He's moving the ball quicker, rebounding more often, and showing more consistency as a defender. Big shooters will always have a degree of value, and that's the case for Mbako. But if he continues to do the other stuff, he can work his way higher up the board. Thanks for watching the No Ceilings Big Board update for December. Make sure that you like and subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for more mock drafts, big boards, scouting reports, and podcasts coming up about the 2025 NBA draft class.